This program is brought to you by Real Estimate. Get a free real estimate of your home's value today on the realestate.com.au app.
It's great to have your company here on Business Now. Let's get around the auction markets around the country over the weekend. And again, national clearance rates are below 60%, though Melbourne is showing some signs of recovery. So nationally, 2016 auctions, just under 60% of those were sold. In Sydney, 714 auctions. You can see here the clearance rate was around 56%. Melbourne, as I say, seems to be just a little brighter. 822 auctions and more than 67% of those were sold. In Brisbane, 83 auctions and just under 52% of those were cleared. Adelaide still strong, 74 auctions, 71.6% of those were sold. And in Canberra, 61 auctions and just under 69% sold. So let's bring in here Anne Flaherty, economist with REA Group. And I just want to start here and just ask about the properties that are not sold are basically overhanging the market. And next weekend and the weekend after, there's going to be more new properties, more auctions that will come up. The question is now how long it's taken to clear those properties that were not sold over the past weekend and previous weekends as well.
Well, that's right. We've certainly seen a lot of stock take a much longer time to sell, and this is particularly the case in Melbourne. We saw a lot of properties hit the market over the second half of last year, and a lot of those were put on the market before Christmas and still were for sale in the new year. What this means, though, is that there's actually a lot of opportunities for buyers in the market right now. And actually, I think we're starting to see a bit of a turnaround in terms of how people are viewing the Melbourne market. With this leftover stock, it's actually creating a lot of opportunity for savvy buyers. There's certainly, we're seeing in certain cases with properties that have been on the market for quite a while, we're starting to see those prices come down. So there are some good deals out there.
I was going to say, because that's the issue, isn't it? If you've got an overhang of stock on the market, you can see it a little bit in Brisbane, but a lot of that is private sales. Adelaide, quite clearly, is selling a lot of the property that's coming to market, so the overhang's not as great. But whenever there's a bigger overhang, it tends to be that drags on prices. That's what you pick up in those monthly reports.
Well, that's right. And when I speak about things sort of turning around in Melbourne, it really was the underperforming capital city last year because of the amount of stock on the market. Buyers had a lot of choice. Now we're starting to see, particularly after the interest rate cut we had last month, there's been a resurgence in demand for buyers, particularly in Melbourne. And actually, for the first time in several years, Melbourne saw the strongest price growth over February. So this is a bit of a turnaround. And I think, again, it goes back to the fact that there is a lot of opportunity in Melbourne, which is amazingly one of Australia's most affordable capital cities to buy in right now.
Okay, and this also goes back to employment and rents. Because Melbourne has fairly full employment, as most of Australia does right now, you've either got to be a buyer and in the market paying a mortgage, or you've got to be a renter. Now, the fact is that calculation that people always do go, well, actually, it might be more sensible for me to buy now, and especially if you factor in there could be a couple more interest rate cuts coming.
I think that's right. And we know that following that cut, a lot of people have been visiting realestate.com looking to buy. So it's certainly a strong indicator of a return of confidence in buyers. I think as well, a lot of people have seen the rental market rents rise very rapidly. Also, in cities like Melbourne and Sydney, we've seen a lot of property investors selling. In Melbourne, we actually saw the total number of rental properties shrink by over 20,000 last year, with more investors selling than buying. And so I think not only are rents rising, but I think a lot of renters are looking at the situation and saying, you know what, I might be better off to actually buy my first home. I don't have to worry about security of tenure. And with interest rates coming down, they're feeling more confident.
I'll tell you what, Anne Flaherty, economist with the REA Group. Always good to chat to you. Many thanks for your time.
Thank you.